So methods of precision journalism. Again, specifically the two major approaches that we have through which journalists apply scientific and data-driven techniques in news reporting are just only two methods. The first is what we call active precision journalism, and we also have what we call reactive precision journalism. Again, active precision journalism and reactive precision journalism. So both approaches, which are active precision journalism and reactive precision journalism, rely on evidence, they rely on statistics, they rely on analysis, but they differ in how the data are obtained and how the data are used. So what is the meaning of methods? I want to talk about method of precision journalism. What do we mean? It refers to the different ways journalists gather, how they analyze and also interpret data for news production using scientific and research-based techniques. And these methods help journalists produce accurate, objective, evidence-based and analytical reports. And the two major methods are explained, which is the first, which has to do with active precision journalism. I'll talk about active precision journalism. It is a proactive method in which journalists personally design and conduct research in order to generate original news data. In this approach, the journalist does not wait for information from outside the organization. Instead, the journalists actively investigate issues themselves by formulating research questions, by collecting original data, analyze the findings, and present the results as news. Meaning they are now what? They are active. They are not waiting for the news to occur. They are not waiting for any societal issues to come up. But rather, they are always what? Active. So this method closely resembles social science research because journalists becomes directly involved in the research process. And what are the characteristics of active precision journalism? Here, journalists generate original data, whereby the journalist personally gathers information rather than depending on existing reports, meaning they are always proactive. So data may be collected through surveys, questionnaire, interviews, experiments, observation, or even field investigations. So an example of this is a journalist investigating how AI-generated news is influencing audience trust on what they see online. So this, for a journalist to be able to gather news story towards this, to get people's feel about this, they may need to distribute questionnaires to media consumers and analyze the responses statistically. The second characteristics is that active precision journalism is investigative and proactive. You don't wait for news to occur. You are proactive about it. So the journalist here deliberately initiates the investigation to uncover hidden realities, the trends, or even social problems. And this approach is proactive because the journalist creates the opportunity to generate evidence. An example is where you have a journalist who may conduct an independent survey in order to determine how many Nigerian youth rely on TikTok for political information. How many of them rely on X, formerly known as Twitter? How many of them rely on Instagram? Or how journalists even perceive AI newscasters in Lagos, because now have AI TVC News and TVC AI News Anchor. The third characteristics is that for active precision journalism, it uses scientific research methods. So active precision journalism applies structured research procedures such as hypothesis formulation, because it is only with that you can be able to predict the influence of a particular variable on another variable, or the relationship between them, and then use it to predict future outcomes. We talk about sampling, we talk about data collection, we talk about statistical analysis and interpretation. And this improves the credibility and reliability of the news reports. The fourth characteristics is that it enhances original reporting. So since journalists generate fresh data independently, the resulting story often provides exclusive findings and deeper insight. And this method is common in investigative journalism, election reporting, opinion polling, and social issues analysis. So the example of active precision journalism We've given an array of examples. We can take one more, which has to do with let's think about a journalist who wants to investigate the effect of social media misinformation on voter participation among Nigerian youth towards the coming 2027 election. The journalist may design questionnaire, survey about 500 to 600 youth, analyze the responses statistically, and publish these findings based on collected evidence. And this is active precision journalism because the journalist personally generated the data. He didn't wait for the story for the election, 2027 election to come, but rather did his own investigation long before the election cycle. The next method of precision journalism that we have is what we call the reactive precision journalism. The first is active, which is telling us to be proactive. The reactive precision journalism is not what we want to look at. The reactive precision journalism is a responsive method in which journalists analyze and interpret already existing data produced by external organizations. Again, reactive journalism or reactive precision journalism is a responsive method in which journalists analyze and interpret already existing data produced by external organizations. So instead of conducting original research, as the case of active precision journalism, the journalist depends on data from government agencies. They rely on data from other newspaper organizations, on NGOs, on research institutes, on universities, corporations, and so on. So here, the journalist only reacts to available information by interpreting and only explaining its significance to the public. So what are the common characteristics that we have when it comes to reactive precision journalism? It depends on existing data. Here, journalist only uses already published statistics that you have in AGM, annual general meetings. You have them in public records. The already existing data that you have in reports, in databases. So the journalist's role is to analyze, verify, and interpret the information. For example, a journalist may analyze the National Bureau of Statistics quarterly reports or yearly reports. They may decide to analyze INEC election data, and so on. Number two is that when it comes to reactive precision journalism, it is interpretative. Because it focuses on explaining what the available data mean. So journalists only identify the implications. They only tell us the relationship and tell us the societal impact. Another one is that it verifies claims and events. Also, it saves time and resources. So the differences between this active and reactive precision journalism is that for active precision journalism, journalists generate original data, while reactive only use existing. Active precision journalism is proactive in nature, while reactive precision journalism has only responsive approach towards journalism. For active precision journalism, it uses surveys and field research. Reactive only uses reports and databases. Active is more investigative. Reactive is more interpretative. Active requires direct research process. Reactive relies on secondary information. Active produces original findings. The active explains already available findings.